Seeing Justin's chest is the closest to sexting I've ever been.
But it's
the best one. Hello and welcome to Stretch Goal Cast, your podcast for the latest in crowdfunded video games on Kickstarter, Indiegogo, Steam Early Access, and more. My name is Remi Storms.
Hi, I'm Clinton Ma.
I'm Justin Nichols.
And I'm Jared Wuerzburger.
Oh, that's pretty cool. Well, this week we have a couple of really cool projects for you guys to show. I guess instead of presenting them as usual, why don't we just let the lead of each project introduce it and,
Move that
So the
way.
first one is, The first one is Jared. Do you want to present your project by any chance? I don't have any jokes this
No,
time.
I'm out of here.
Sadly,
Why am
I
I
don't
even
have
here,
any
Remi?
jokes.
No, yeah. So the first up to bat we have is Guns of Icarus. It's a pretty cool game. We've been playing it for several months, and we can kind of give you a good perspective on it. Guns of Icarus is a steampunk-style game. It's currently multiplayer only, so if you don't care for multiplayer games and more single-player type, then you might want to just keep your eye on it for now. It focuses primarily on airship combat. It's either first or third person, so it kind of gives you some control there. And each airship is controlled by multiplayer, candidates over online. And there's 4 people per airship, and they all take a specific role. So there's a captain role, so you'd be primarily responsible for steering and guiding the ship. There's an engineering role, which will allow you to repair items in the ship, whether it be the balloon, which is responsible for keeping the airship afloat, the engines, which are responsible for moving the vehicle, the weaponry. So if for some reason you are attacked by another crew, the engineer's job would be to get those weapons online. And finally, there's the gunner position, and he has perks designated for ammunition to do damage to other gunships. There's several game types. There's standard deathmatch game types where the object is to you score by taking the opposite team's gunship out of the sky. Lots of strategies available. There's several types of gunships. All have pretty unique names, and they all have. Some of them are larger, some of them are smaller, some of them have better maneuverability, speed, etc. And it's a fairly fun game. Currently, not so currently, but in February of 2012. Guns of Icarus had completed successfully their Kickstarter project. They initially wanted 10 grand. They pulled 35. Looks like 1,200 backers. You can see it's pretty unique. What's the reason I guess we're talking about it post completion is that they have now. They're offering a single-player component that's currently in development, which you can purchase directly from them while they're working on it, and it's going to be in adventure mode. You can donate through PayPal currently from their website here, and there's supposed to be a lot of DLC and other stuff thrown in. So that being said, based on what you guys heard, what do you and Justin has played, and he has maybe a better idea. Give some additional commentary. But what do you guys think of Guns of Icarus?
Well, a quick side note is it's not a single-player mode, it's an adventure mode that can be played cooperatively. So You can play, I think, single player if you'd like to, but I believe you can actually play up to 16 players altogether, so you could be running 4 ships in it.
Wow. Well, sorry about that.
This looks pretty cool. I'm checking out the screenshots, and some of those screenshots look amazing. Just the scale of it all, and you had me at steampunk, Jared. So he said steampunk, and he said airships. So it's like, okay, 2 out of 2. That's pretty good so far. And yeah, Justin, I see you playing it on Steam all the time. So I figure it's got something to it. It's probably half decent.
Yeah, on a weekly basis, I think Justin and I, put in quite a bit of time. We've got a lot of friends that play too, so we even have a little clan that we've got going. And so
what's your clan called?
Go ahead, Justin. You can.
Oh, we're called Boom currently.
Boom?
Yeah, you can make up your own little. They have to be 4 digits or less, and yeah, you can make your own little clans in the game.
Are there boarding actions in this game?
No, and there will not be in the adventure mode either. That is something that a lot of people ask about, but I think that would just throw in a whole other can of worms for the developers if they allow that, right?
It becomes either a shooter or shooter with melee combat, or just melee combat. It's like then you're adding all these new mechanics, right?
Yeah, I mean,
yeah, I can understand that.
I think that Muse, the developers, should team up with Torn Banner, who make Chivalry, and just combine them into one awesome game where you can like kick people off of your airship. That'd be fun.
So
it
isn't quite Assassin's Creed 4 in the air.
No. You can walk and climb ladders.
But you cannot board, other vessels. No. But the combat's fantastic. Really.
You can jump off of your own ship, though.
You can.
But you'll just respawn back into your ship.
But it's
and
funny.
I assume there's no zombies in this game, right?
No zombies. The first week without a zombie game. Sorry, the internet.
They don't get me there anymore. No, I just have a quick questions for you guys that have played it a lot. You mentioned the different roles that you get in the ship, obviously, and every time someone mentions that, I get like, I wonder if one role is going to be obviously more fun than the other, or do you guys feel like it's balanced enough that I can just go and, I don't know, be the engineer and still have fun?
Oh yeah.
As the guy who's being the gunner, or because I don't want to be just like, your role is to mop the floors of the ship. That's your role,
deck.
right? Yeah, poop deck.
No, the great thing is anyone can do anything on the ship. It's just whatever role you pick, you get more tools in your tool belt to do that specific task. So if I'm a pilot, I get more abilities that a pilot would use when steering the ship. However, if need be, I also get to choose 1 engineering item and 1 gunner item. And then so that way I can hop on, like, say like Jared's really good about, if he's a pilot, he'll know, like, he started as an engineer, so sometimes he hops off of the wheel, pulls out his hammer and starts healing up, like, the balloon or something. Or you could, like, jump on a gun if you have to. And anyone can do any of these things. Typically, most of the time, if you are a pilot, you're pretty much always going to be sticking behind the wheel. But the engineers and gunners, they'll be swapping back and forth, because sometimes it's like, as an engineer, there's nothing to repair. You can buff items to make, like, the engines run faster or guns shoot better. But as an engineer, if you guys aren't taking much damage, you might as well be on a gun and start shooting. At the same time, if you're under a lot of heavy fire, the gunners might have to pull out a wrench or hammer or whatever they have to help out the engineers.
Well, that sounds pretty cool. Yeah, because I was worried, like, I don't want to be stuck on one thing and not being able to shoot or something. But anyway, for those who haven't, tried this game, or, like myself, I guess there are good news about it, like the price. Someone mentioned something about the price.
Yes, sir. To kind of sum this puppy up,
Yep.
humblebundle.com, and they have, remember, humblebundle.com once fantastic for supplying people with reasonably priced games and donating those funds to charity. They actually have a dedicated store, which has items a lot more items, and they change at will. And currently, it's $3.75.
So there is no excuse to play this game now.
There is not, and it's
I
fantastic.
have no excuse to play with you and be the guy who cleans the poop deck. No.
Remi, you should Clint too. We need to this would be fun. A fun game where we could all form a certain role on the ship, and then we could record the entire thing and put it up. We've been talking about doing this.
We should do that.
It's great too if you're not even that into like first-person frantic shooters, because this game is much more about finesse and like timing. It's not like Call of Duty, where it's just run and gun. So I think a lot of people can enjoy this game. Really great teamwork game, like Jared said.
Yeah, that Humble sale sounds like a steal. The regular price for the game is $15, which is already pretty good. It's not going to break the bank or anything. So that $3.75 you said, that's pretty cheap.
$3.75, and if you like the $3.75 base game, it might be a good time to pay the extra $10 directly to the developers and get that adventure mode to go through that stuff when it eventually releases. Which Dustin, do you happen to know when that's going to be?
Yeah, when's the target for that?
I do not know actually. I know that they're probably working a bit right now with the PlayStation 4 version of it that's coming out soon. But I know that they have been doing dev like documentary stuff for the making of this adventure mode. That is one of the things you get if you do the $55 pledge. You get like a soundtrack, the documentary, an in-game costume pack, which the costumes in this game are, I don't know who they have designing it, but they are doing an awesome job. Really great costumes. And then you also get like a poster pack and some other things too. It is a little pricey for $55, I think, but I'm thinking about doing it because I like watching those documentary type things, the making of. But yeah, I can't say for sure when the date is to expect this. I'm hoping sometime this year. Maybe we can put that in the show notes if we find out.
Right.
Yeah.
And maybe a link to the Humble Bundle sale.
Yeah, definitely.
I think people would appreciate that.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm all for those development documentaries. It seems to be working really well for Double Fine, for example. And
Nice one.
Thank you for that. Yes, the next one. I'll be leading the topic on Massive Chalice. Now, many of you Kickstarter people might notice or might know that Massive Chalice has already had a very successful Kickstarter, and they got about over $1.2 million. They're looking for 700,000 to. Sorry. They're looking for over $700,000, and anyways, they ended up totally hitting it out of the park, and the lead on this one is Brad Muir, and let's see here. It's going to be coming out for PC, Mac, and Linux. The gameplay is like a tactical fantasy on an epic timeline. So by that, I mean, think of XCOM, and you basically know what the gameplay is going to be like. It's turn-based on a grid. The story behind it is you're sort of this immortal ruler of a kingdom which is under attack by these demons called the Cadence, and the war is prophesied to last centuries. There are family keeps all around the kingdom, sort of Game of Thrones style. And then over time, your heroes age, and eventually will just die from old age. But you can choose to retire them from combat and then they'll have children of their own, which will be your next generation of heroes to come. And then this can also lead to hybrid classes, because there are 3 different types of heroes. There's Caberjacks, which are your melee brutes. They've got like a battering ram. They can knock back enemies, but they could also knock allies into different tiles. There's a Arbalist. They might have renamed this the Hunter, I forget. But anyways, it's basically this long-range guy who's got like a bazooka type of crossbow. And then there's the Alchemist, which is a mid-range fighter, and he can chuck potions at enemies to do sort of like AoE effects, or he can also just use his claw to attack enemies, like in melee combat. You can also use them kind of to support your allies by throwing health potions to your to the other team members for them to use later on. They also mentioned that there is a Vanguard that they started to show. They do like these team views on, they call them team streams on Twitch, and you can also find them on YouTube as well. They mentioned Vanguard, but it's currently cut. That class is sort of like a leader type class that can give buffs to the other teammates. Yeah, the team streams on Twitch and YouTube are really great. I definitely recommend checking those out. They're really informative for just some basic development stuff. They are definitely art heavy right now, just because that's an easy thing to show. They do kind of sometimes even get into like some of the more minute details, like texture blending on terrain and things like that. So some really good information. I really like the faceted art direction that they've got going on. The more original character classes, like, I don't know, I've never really seen character classes like these ones, or also the enemies too look really original. And then the whole like bloodlines of, I can see like a lot of great sort of emergent stories that can come from, you know, like having these bloodlines over time and what could happen on the battlefield. You know, like you have like a possibly a uncle and, you know, like a younger version, and the uncle gets killed on the battlefield, except then when someone dies, they leave behind a relic that other people in the bloodline can use. So yeah, there's a lot of good sense of history and progression that I think will come from that. What do you guys think? Oh yeah, you can back this on their website. That's why I'm bringing it up still. It's called, if you missed the Kickstarter, you can now be a Slacker backer. And there are no physical rewards anymore, but you will get pretty similar type of deals as you did on Kickstarter, just no physical products.
So this game has that Viking Nordic flavor. Kind of reminds me of Banner Saga, which just came out. It's kind of a coincidence almost. You played both now, so how do they compare?
I would say that Banner Saga is definitely more Nordic. This just feels more, I guess, like kind of their own twist on fantasy. They didn't really want to take, I think like that was a major point that they had when designing it, was they wanted this universe to look original and not be like typical knights characters. Definitely less focus on magic. If you notice, like all the 3 classes are not using any type of magic abilities. The only magic items you get will come from crafting. When you defeat demons, you can actually like create demonic weapons, which actually have some negative penalties to you as well. So there's some give and take with that, which is nice. But that is sort of like Banner Saga because there's not a whole lot of like magic things going on in Banner Saga as well. They're kind of like these more gritty, realistic fantasy worlds. So yeah, I definitely see that there is some similarities there.
And I take it this is single player only, right?
Yes, yeah, I believe so. There are definitely more environments in this game compared to Banner Saga is more like very focused on the Nordic kind of snowy environments. They've shown some really cool environment stuff that they've got going on so far. Really cool. I really like the water. They show off like water in this mangrove grove level that they made, and it looks sweet.
It seems like it's another great game from a well-established company, especially based on previous successful Kickstarters that they've done. Gameplay seems great. Artwork is kind of unique in a sense. I don't know. I feel like I haven't seen anything like it in a while. I guess like you said, you did mention what game did you mention? That was like it, artwork style wise, and maybe even gameplay style. I forget what he said, but I like it. I like that they're kind of branching out too. Like they've got T-shirt options, which is fantastic on the Kickstarter. Of course, it's over, and they also had like a signed poster, which was cool. And the only thing, I guess, I only had one other thing to say about it, and it was that I think it's really neat that companies like Humble Bundle, like Double Fine, are now accepting Bitcoins for games.
Yes, yeah, good point. Glad you saw that.
Yeah, I'm just super excited, and of course it's only $15, so we don't get to see how many Bitcoin transactions have taken place, really, I guess, unless we did the math. But they've collected 3.149 Bitcoins, and each Bitcoin's like $1,000. So quite a few people are opting in to buy this game without having physical cash, which is neat.
Very cool. And yes, their original pledge was 725,000. I can say that now. I got a little tongue-tied there before.
Man, they made $1 million on this puppy. Holy crap. It might be the biggest one we've covered.
Yeah.
What's good, this one's doing well, and they're not pinning all their hopes and dreams onto Broken Age. I think there was a slight negative reaction to this when they first announced the Kickstarter campaign. They were thinking, oh, well, aren't these guys busy with Double Fine Adventure, aka Broken Age? Why are they doing this, right? And I guess it's an understandable reaction, but when you get right down to it, business-wise, the studio probably felt a little insecure resting everything they had on that one game, and since they have a big enough studio to branch off into something else, so it's good that it's paying off.
If you look at their Kickstarter video, they address that from the get-go. In fact, the first half of the video, they don't even talk about the game. It's a lot of it's sort of a comedic setup, which Double Fine's pretty good at. And Brad Muir, he's real. The whole team just seems like they're having a lot of fun working there. So, but yeah, there was some controversy with them already having one Kickstarter before, and then during this time, I think they mentioned that they're going to have to split up Broken Age into 2 projects because they were kind of over budget, which probably made some people hesitant at first to decide whether or not they wanted to pledge for this. But I'm glad I did. It's looking great, and I'm excited to play.
Good stuff.
The music sounds pretty cool, right? I mean, it's pretty. If it's unique gameplay they got going on, I'm excited. What's next on the agenda?
Our next game is called Darklands.
Darklands.
This is a current project on Kickstarter. It comes to us from, well, the location of the campaign says it's from Prague, Czech Republic. The company itself is Mingle Games. It's based in Calgary, Canada. A little bit of CanCon today. As far as I can tell, it's 3 guys who are the primary devs on this game. It's an auto, what do you call it? Run forever, endless runner. You know those type of games. You're a person or thing running towards the right side of the screen forever, and then you just have to last as long as you can. They're going for more of a gritty fantasy flavor here. Basically, aside from running, jumping, and sliding, you can also do attacks. And they show you're sort of like this Spartan-looking fellow with a helmet with a plume on it, and you're carrying a sword, and you're running along, and as you approach certain enemies, you'll slash them, or you can avoid them as well. And the art style, I would say, is quite nice. It's striking. It's a bit. It's getting a little out of date, I would say. I'm tempted to say, 2010, 2011 called, and they want their art style back. Kind of like that limbo, dark silhouettes, in the foreground, and then you have something very detailed in the background, right? To play off the contrast. And that art style for me always looks pretty good, but at this point is not new and original exactly. But I will say the animations look good. The thought and creativity that's going into the character design is looking pretty sweet. Justin, I gotta say, this reminds me a bit of Forerunner.
Oh my God! Did you totally mentioned it?
Just to do a shameless plug, that's like 2 years late.
Remi and Jared worked on it too.
Everybody.
A little bit of background. Forerunner is a Unity game that the rest of these guys made a couple years back. Very similar look and control scheme. And the guys right now are looking for $10,000. These guys, I should say, Mingle Games, are looking for $10,000. They've racked up $3,608 across 43 backers. They have 20 days to go. And I would say, the scope of the project is just about right for this sort of thing. For the amount of money they're asking for, the game itself looks solid. The pitch video showed a lot of gameplay footage, set against nice background music, as well cut. The funny thing, near the end of the pitch video is they have a feature on a team, and it's really cheesy. No one says anything, but they're all just kind of sitting in the forest, looking off into the distance, contemplating things, and they'll feature, the first guy features the programmer, and then they start tweeting in all these different words that have to do with what the guy does on a daily basis. It's like coding, debug. It was sort of cheesy, right? Especially when it got to like the artist and the designer, and like the words would come in were like draw, art, design. Anyway, I admire the effort they put into at least making make it dramatic, trying to sex harmony. It up a bit. Yeah, harmony. Yeah. So
I like the scenery there. That was pretty.
Yeah. It looks all right. 20 days to go, and they're already like a third of the way there. They should be able to fund. People still like their endless runners. What do you guys think?
Yeah, when I first saw this, I was thinking I was like, I don't know about the style of it, but when I found out that it was mobile, it made a lot more sense to me.
Yeah, Windows Phone, forgot to mention, which is unique.
Yep, and
Target.
The one thing I really like, the backgrounds are great, and I can see why they did the whole foreground contrast. The only thing that and this is more of a personal thing, I'm not a fan of when I see 2D animations that are done by just taking a 2D character and adding bones to it. because I like to see like the animations actually like move. You're kind of very limited that way. If you actually like, like if you think of like a Street Fighter game, like Street Fighter 2 or something, it's like they can move all around and like face the screen or face away from the screen. They're very much just like always like either looking completely left or right. So I don't know, I'm not a huge fan of that animation style, but it's definitely quicker, and it's not that bad, but it's more of a personal thing for me. Everything else looks pretty cool though, and I'm glad that they show a lot of the deaths too, because I'm sure you're going to be dying a lot in this game, and it's always good to kind of see that in like in a trailer video, just to show like what it looks like when you die.
He's being gored by Minotaur there.
The actions look fun though, like sliding and like attacking. It'll be cool.
Remi, what do you think about what we're looking at here?
Oh my God, where should I start? Well, first of all, I have to say it really brought memories back from when we were making that game, and that's where it got me. So I'll try to be completely unbiased, but I already like this game for many reasons, especially because it's a mobile game, and I don't know if we haven't talked about many mobile games lately on the show, but it's a big part of gaming nowadays, and I really like the way they're doing things, the way the game looks, and hopefully it will feel better, because that's a big thing of mobile games. If it doesn't feel good, even though if it looks great, it's not gonna be a good game. But I have good hopes on this game, really. What else do I have to say without sounding biased? I like the look of it. And they're asking for a really decent amount of money. They're not going like super crazy on the money they're asking. The one thing I'm kind of hesitant about is that I believe for now it's just for a Windows phone. Is it? They mentioned something about porting it to iOS later on, but
they're targeting Windows Phone first.
Yeah.
Which is really interesting.
Yeah, I mean, as far as like mobile platforms are concerned, it's the smallest, as far as user base too. So
what about this devices here? We need some love on those devices. Everyone has at least one of those. That's what made me like I don't know. I found it a little bit weird that they didn't have the iOS support right away, if that makes sense.
Well, I guess, and this makes us a little interested in what engine he's using, or is he writing this from scratch? You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Like, what engine is Windows Phone only? Or why can't he just buy a license to export this if he's using something, that's like an engine that covers multiple platforms?
Yeah, I was trying to look at the website to see if they mention like, oh, we're using Unity or something like that, but I don't think it. Unless I missed it, I don't think they mention it.
They have an FAQ at the bottom, and then they have a question: will you carry on supporting Windows Phone? And they say, yes, it is our mother platform, and we will not abandon almost 1 million of our players. And then will you port for Steam, PC, Mac, or Linux? First of all, we need to get approved by Steam to be able to offer Darklands there. Once this happens, we'll make a version for PC and Mac.
If you look under stretch goals, if they reach 20 grand, then they'll port for Steam.
Sounds pretty cool.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, other than that, just the game looks pretty good. And I think I'm with you on that comment on the animation side, Justin. But yeah, that's just
it's kind of big,
right? Most people probably won't even notice it.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, you can tell it's just like those pieces attached with bones.
Yeah.
It's
good. Like that bowl, like has some really good animations and stuff. But it would be nice. But it definitely takes a lot more time to do like basically more like a handmade.
Yeah, exactly.
Frame by frame type of animations.
Also, they have a lot
referring to
of
the jerkiness
characters.
of the animation. Is that what you are pretty much talking about? There's some jerkiness to how the guys animate.
It's sort of like if you look at on their page under animations. Maybe I can screen share this again real quick.
Nope, you won't be able to.
Oh, I won't be able to. Okay.
You won't be.
Anyways,
So-
basically you just like draw a character and they're made out of, like different 2D pieces, and you just attach them together, make bones, and you just kind of move those around. It's almost like South Park. Think of like how that animation works. That's how these are animated, and it's a pretty quick way and fairly common way for 2D animations. But yeah, it is a bit limited.
Mm.
Also, they have a lot of characters, not only the main character, but a lot of enemies. So that I guess that's also another reason why they did it that way.
It's
But
definitely more
really
efficient.
nice to have like hand drawn, like sprite by one by one, right? Sprite animation to give more. Yeah. But I think we are running out of time on this project.
I think
Are
we
we
said
not?
enough. I think we said enough on Darklands.
It's cool though, and it's
Wish them
awesome
luck.
to see a team make a game outdoors in the woods.
I want to join that team.
You guys just like programming by a little babbling brook, like.
You only got 5 minutes left on my laptop.
Speaking of which, I only have 23% on my laptop, so I hope I don't just disappear on you guys.
Well, maybe it's a good way to take it away.
Good. So, shall we switch projects, if that's okay with you?
Goober's World.
Okay, next one is called Goober's World. And a couple of things I want to say about this project. If I can find the website, the page. There it is. I don't know if the full name is Goober's World platform game or just Goober Worlds. And it's done by Emergency Studios, which is apparently just one guy. And his name is Joshua Hale, and I hope I'm pronouncing it right. And if you look at the trailer, it's a pretty simple to understand game. It's just a platformer. Apparently it's styled like Mario, Sonic, and Mega Man. So if you like any of this type of games, you will probably enjoy this one. Just by the look of it, the graphics are simple but colorful, and that's one of the things I really like about games. Keep it simple, of course. So this guy apparently is doing all of it, this project on his own. So he's been featured on Super Game Droid and other websites such as IndieDB. You guys obviously know about it. So yeah, it seems like a pretty interesting project, at least on my opinion. And it feels like this guy, it's actually putting a lot of heart into it. Because he's doing everything by himself. The game looks pretty neat. If you check the trailer, you will see the state of completion of this project. Other than that, I just want to mention that he's asking for $5,000, and he only has 10 days to go, which is weird that he hasn't had more money for this. So if you guys enjoy this type of game, check it out and throw your money at it, because I'm going to throw my money and hopefully he will make it. I don't know what you guys think, what you want to add to it.
This is for PC? Yeah, okay.
Yep.
This looks like it covers. He's aiming for everything. So I don't know what he's developing in him, but he's got everything listed. He's even going to put a Ouya version.
Yeah, it doesn't say what he's doing it on, but yeah, for almost all the way down, it says that he wants to port it to Ouya, Xbox, iOS, Android, Windows Mobile, PC, Mac. But for now, I guess it's just PC.
Oh,
But it has a lot of
Fusion.
interesting things, like again, he's not trying to get the in-app purchases and or anything like that. It's just like, I feel like it's more like core gameplay and, you know, for people to enjoy the game, not as much as, oh, I want to make money. It's not going to be a money grabber. That's what caught my attention.
Yeah, and he doesn't want to use ads, doesn't want to do in-app purchases. So I guess I'm trying to figure out if he's, I guess he's just going to use that initial fund of 5,000 to fund this guy, because he's not going to be able to make any profit on the game post.
Mm-hmm.
So I guess he's doing it for the love of the game.
Yeah, that's why I mentioned, like, it feels like it has heart to it. I don't know.
Mm-hmm. It reminds me a bit of a game called Mutant Muds, which is on mobile. I believe it's also on like the Wii shop as well. Sort of in the same vein as this, but you can it's pretty similar.
I guess the only question I have is the main character Goober here? well, I'm trying to, what I'm trying to say. I feel like most platformer games is centered around this character who you learn inside and out. You're on an epic journey as this character, and I feel like I don't know if Goober is strong enough to make the story around.
You don't want to be a little blob? It kind of, I'm thinking, it's definitely got like a Yoshi's Island type of vibe because there's different colors, and I assume, it's like, oh, when you're yellow, that's when you can shoot out fire.
Okay.
Things like that.
You get different upgrades, and apparently there's like a couple of ways to beat each game or level. I mean, each level or the full game. Like in the old games, you used to check out different places or jump towards your possible death, and you found out, oh, there's another, secret entrance where you can get something else. So it has apparently has a couple of elements like this, which could be annoying for new players. Like, oh, that's so cheap. I thought I was gonna die, and now I get a reward. But yeah, a lot of old-fashioned elements.
I'm not a huge fan of like blind jumps, even to get to secret areas, but
I normally try to pick games that you will hate.
Yeah.
To create that emotional.
I'm not saying I hate this. I'm just saying
that tension. No, sorry. Go ahead.
I'm just saying, I think it's pretty cool. Overall, it looks good to me.
And I guess, where was that at? So it looks like Goober's World is using, and this is interesting because this is called, you guys heard of Fusion?
No, I was just looking at it.
It's pretty neat. Isn't it supposed to be, I heard about it a few months ago and I was going to pick up a copy and I forgot. It's just like a self-contained, kind of like the introduction to game design platforms. Coding is extremely easy. You don't even have to do it. You can just drag and drop coding blocks, I think, to artworks embedded, or you can make your own artwork. I mean, anybody can put up a game relatively quick, I think.
That looks great. Reminds me of Game Maker or something.
Right, and I think it's 2D only. I think this game engine. So maybe
that's what it looks like. Yeah, that's cool. There's a lot of these engines popping up now, and I'm all for
it's getting easier and easier to make games.
That's why we have to make them with the heart, not just put them out there because you can. At least that's my opinion. I don't know.
I think it's also the reason why we see a lot of not so awesome games.
Yeah,
like if you ever
everything out there.
Yeah. Alrighty.
So, anything else in Goober's World before we move on?
I think we're good. Let's
we're
run
good?
the speed round.
Ooh.
So yeah, this week's speed round should be fairly speedy. I see one topic on our list here. So Remi, it's interesting that you're talking about heart, making games that have heart.
Because I don't have one? Why is it interesting?
Oh, man.
No, Remi. I was gonna say that sometimes you do need more than heart. You need heart and cash as well. So I wanted to talk about a Kickstarter success story that has hit sort of hard times. And the game is called Akinera. It's a game by American McGee, who's a fairly well-known game designer. He's been around for a while. He's done games for a PC and console and free to play. He's kind of done a bit of everything now, and he started up a studio in Shanghai, China, called Spicy Horse. And early last year, almost a year ago now, they went on Kickstarter to get funding for the game Akinero, which is a action RPG style game. I believe it was just for PC at the moment, but they wanted to put it onto tablets as well. And the game is action RPG Diablo style, with the art style is heavily influenced by Japanese mythology. And the setting and all that stuff is very Japanese in flavor, although everything is quite cartoony. Anyway, they if I can just pull up the information on my screen here, they were asking for $200,000, and they overfunded by just by 4,680. So they're doing pretty good, well on their way. They had a closed beta available for backers, and it just turned out maybe earlier this week they had to update. They put an update on their campaign page announcing that they could not continue developing the game at the same rate. The team had basically shrunk to 2 people, and they were focusing their development onto another game called The Gate, in the hopes of just staying alive as a studio. And it seems like they're putting Akinero on hold indefinitely, or it's gonna be worked on, but it's just gonna be a lot slower now that the team has gone from 20 plus people to 2 people, right? So this is really really a surprise, especially when you consider that it's coming from someone who's very experienced in the games industry, and they were still able to get their funding. How he puts it is they got their funding from Kickstarter, and they managed to make money through the game with in-app purchases and all that stuff, amounting to about $300,000. But their overall investment in the game totaled $2 million. So
Wow.
the books didn't quite balance there, right? So yeah, this is really sad news. I kind of did some more research on the game itself, and it looks great. Visually it looks awesome, and of course I'm a big fan of ARPGs.
Yeah, me too.
It's just really surprising to see someone who's got the chops to still stumble like this. It's a lesson I guess we can all learn. It's not that easy to make games. You can have a lot of heart, you can have the money, you can have the experience, but you can still run into serious problems like this. Have you guys checked this out before?
I remember seeing it way back when it was on Kickstarter, and I guess I was sort of like the art style kind of has that Ico vibe going for it,
Mm-hmm.
kind of like that inky black outline, really saturated colors. So that was cool, but yeah, I just felt like, I kind of knew this wasn't going to be a huge, I wasn't getting that vibe of this is going to be a real big hit to me. It definitely seemed like a smaller project, which, $2 million, that is considerably a small project when you think about how much a lot of games can cost to develop. But yeah, I ended up not backing it back then, which I guess is kind of a good thing now. Yeah, it still sucks for everyone that funded it. That is sort of, and I'm looking on some comments and stuff, and people are wondering about how they can get refunds on certain stuff. I'm not sure, it's just because they don't finish what they plan to doesn't mean you're gonna get a refund. It's kind of part of the risk of backing a project. Do you know at all if they are going to be refunding any certain things about the game, or they're saying we're still working on it, but just only a couple people are going to be working on it? So
yeah, technically they're still working on it, and
yeah.
I believe I saw something in the comments about how they're going to try and fulfill any remaining backer rewards.
Okay.
But I think the main thing is, there's a lot of discontent about the way the project ended up, of course, and people are, in a way, kind of blaming them for not implementing certain features sooner, such as multiplayer. That seems to be a big sticking point for a lot of the funders. They were all expecting multiplayer to take the game up to the next level and to maybe help with the monetization and all that sort of stuff. But it's hindsight right now. Hindsight's 2020, of course. So it's just unfortunate for everyone involved.
Yep.
Yeah, especially the folks that backed it.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, on that high note.
Somber.
On that somber, yeah. Let's bring it up a notch. Clint, what'd you play this week? Anything good?
Oh, not a whole heck of a lot. Been picking away at Broken Age. I think for the last 2 episodes, I've been like, okay, we're gonna block out some time and maybe we can talk about Broken Age, since that's a success story that's still being written, because this is just part 1 of the Double Fine adventure. But so far, I like it a lot. It's got an amazing art style. There's something that they did. Everything's very handcrafted, and it's all very simple looking, but it's all at the same time it's very emotive and very evocative. So if you guys had backed it or think of buying it on Steam or wherever else they're selling it, I highly recommend you check it out. It's a standard click and point adventure game, but they've streamlined a lot of stuff, and so far I'm liking it. Yeah.
Well, those are fun when you just want to kind of play a game but veg out.
Exactly.
You want to do
yeah.
what you're thinking.
Yeah, you're exactly on point there. You're not worried about someone shooting you from behind. Your heart is not racing, trying to fight or kill. Been playing a lot of those games lately, so yeah, you just veg out and just click and enjoy the story.
And I'm kind of one of those people who would rather play a game than watch TV. So if depending on your mood, you might just want to sit and watch something. What about you, Justin? What have you been playing? Actually, maybe we should ask Remi next, because I think his battery's going to die.
Well, this week I was checking out some of my old games from the Humble Bundles that I bought, because sometimes you just buy them and never play them. So I started playing again Lone Survivor. I don't know if you guys heard of it or played it. It's pretty much like I would say a Silent Hill, but in 2D. It's all pixel art. It's kind of neat. I haven't finished the game yet, but I beat a couple of levels. It's pretty good. My type of games, but in 2D. And I also started playing Surgeon Simulator, which is not really a surgeon simulator, but just a really funny game where you have to, I don't know how to say it, but perform surgical operations, whatever. But it's the system is so clunky that it's funny to just grab the things with the keys and mouse. It's just really funny. That's it.
Justin, go!
Well, as I mentioned before, I've had a character for quite a while now that's been alive in DayZ. And so instead of, dying to be a hero, I've now lived long enough to see myself become the villain, as I've killed my first players. It started off as self-defense because there was...
There's somebody there!
Let me defend myself. This guy came at me with the crowbar. Basically, one of the guys I play with, he had been killed in this town, so we kind of went back in, and 2 of us had guns, and they were running up ahead of me, and then all of a sudden I saw like 4 they noticed a couple of players that just were unarmed or had like crowbars, and then all of a sudden like 4 zombies. And these are like new zombies that are military zombies, like jumped out. And I see one behind my friend. I'm like, look out behind you. And then he starts to get hit by a zombie, and now he's being chased by zombies. And then these other players decide to take advantage of the situation and try to swing at my buddy to try and take his gun and everything he's got. They end up like running, and you can run pretty quick in this game, so if someone keeps on darting back and forth and you're trying not to shoot your buddy but shoot them, it's kind of difficult to aim. anyways, he ended up killing my friend, but then right at that moment, I ended up shooting him, and then the guy that was with him. Then I ran out of there because there's like 5 zombies around.
You mean
The
you
other
got a
person,
double kill?
what?
You got a double kill?
Yeah, double kill. They should add that into the game, like Kilimanjaro.
Unreal Tournament style.
Anyways, so I hightail it out of there. The other guy, the other friend I'm playing with, he runs too because he's got no weapons on him. I go ditch the zombies that are chasing me, reload, head back out down there, and I'm kind of creeping up to where my buddy died because I want to try and get some of the gear that he had on him to give back to him when he respawns as a new character. As I'm creeping up, I just see like some dude leaning over him in a beret, and obviously this guy doesn't, he's probably got his like inventory screen popped up because he doesn't notice that I'm like 15 feet away and he's just standing completely still. And without even thinking, I'm like, this guy's probably completely innocent. He just came across these bodies and it's like, oh cool, I can get a lot of good stuff. He probably, had nothing to do with the situation, but I didn't even think, and I just tap him twice in the head and he drops. And then I go to pick up, my buddy's gun, so that way I could give it back to him.
Justin, you're a monster.
I know.
Make it sound so
evil,
casual, I just double tapped and put him
I
down.
didn't even, the first kill's always the hardest. Now I'm just, it doesn't faze me. I'm like,
And then Clint had a really good idea earlier this week. Didn't you, Clint? We were surprised.
Right. Before we wrap this baby up, I thought we should mention that we're doing our first giveaway. Since Stretch Goal Cast is reached the big time now, it's
you
high
can
time
win a date with Remi.
So for our loyal fans and for our new viewers as well, in our first episode we talked about a game on Kickstarter called War of Omens. It's a digital collectible card game and deck builder. They went on to fund successfully, and I backed the project myself. And just a week ago, I guess as a thank you to all their backers, they sent out additional codes for their closed beta. I guess it's a closed beta, I guess. So we have 2 codes up for grabs. So we're going to give them away to the first 2 people who comment below. This is not for the live stream, unfortunately. We're just going to post the video on YouTube after the fact, and then for the first 2 commenters, we will send you each a beta code for War of Omens.
Should they mention something in the comment so that way they know that they want it?
Just say, I want it.
Sure. I mean, I think most of the time people would just be like, hey, give me the code.
Yeah. So somehow indicate that you want it, just in case you don't. But
Stretch Goal Cast rules!
Stay stretchy.
And,
Hashtag stay stretchy.
Why not? Yeah.
Oh, God.
If you do it, maybe we'll give you 2 codes.
No.
But yeah, since that's a Twitter thing, the hashtag, we just want to remind you, we'll be checking the YouTube comments. But if you want to just tell your friends about us on Twitter, you can hashtag Stretch Goal Cast or stay stretchy or anything, any that takes people back to our page on Twitter, which is always good to get the extra attention. And we're also on Facebook. You can find us there. And if you would like to email us with some show ideas, or if you have a project you want to tell us about, it's stretchgoalcast@gmail.com. Like and subscribe. Poke us.
Yeah. And I guess as a side note, if there's any other developers that we've talked about, either game-wise or if there's stuff that's coming out and coming down the pipeline, you'd like us to play through your game or speak about your game, you throw us keys, we'll record us playing it. We'll throw it up on YouTube, whatever. We'll give out keys to people, whatever you'd like. It'll be kind of a fun way to give back to everybody involved.
Share the love.
Cool. Anybody else got anything else before we finish up?
Did you want to say anything you've been playing, Jared?
Well, as far as this week and last week, what I've been playing hasn't really changed. We played more Guns of Icarus. I kind of already covered it. Might even play some tonight, too. I gotta get in the habit of just recording whenever I play now so we can post it up.
You're not going to watch the Super Bowl tonight?
No. Not on my agenda. But I'll look up the score maybe at the end so that when in public conversation I don't look like an idiot.
I'm rooting for the Tennessee T-Rexes.
Ooh, Tennessee.
And my team. No, it should be a good game. I don't really follow football that much, but apparently it's like the best offense versus the best defense.
Right. Well, I guess I could.
Football.
I know. Me too. I can mention one thing I found interesting. That I guess some of our audience might find interesting. I guess Battlefield 4 was updated. This time, what was interesting about this update is they kind of talked about using this new API developed by AMD specifically. So if you have NVIDIA hardware, I'm sorry on the PC side, but this is for AMD video cards only, and it's about any card that was made in the last year, maybe two. So the 280X, 290X, 270X. There's an API that will take advantage of those specific graphic cards that gives between 10 and 30% better performance in games that use that API. There are currently a few in development. Battlefield 4 is already released. But I guess what's interesting, what we should talk about, I guess, is how it could really affect, because I know a huge complaint, among folks online, among people who play PC games and folks that only play console games, is when is this game going to come to console? Or when is this game going to come to PC? And with using this fundamental API layer, like this low level, instead of DirectX 11, it's using this AI layer. So if it's using, if your game you develop at one time uses this below engine level AI API layer, then it could be used on any any console that was released this year, right? On the PS4, on the Xbox One, and then on PC. It could be just a cross-platform release really easily. So what do you guys think about that? The possibility of this, of somebody developing one game that works across the board.
I think that's definitely good for a lot of, it's like the consoles, they want as many games as they can get on their consoles. So it just streamlines everything. I think that's kind of a win-win for everyone. Doesn't really sound like it's going to work for Wii U, though.
I don't
have something for Wii U.
Wii U is AMD hardware. I don't know if it uses the same API or not. I can just vouch for the other two.
Yeah.
I don't see how it could be a bad thing. You're going to be saving money on development costs. You're not going to have to have the complications of porting to different platforms. It's going to be streamlined. It's going to be simplified. So I think as consumers, it probably doesn't matter too much, but I'm sure developers and publishers are loving this and probably have plans to take advantage of it some more, right?
Yeah, and I really hope that it does come to pass. That was it for me this week. I thought that was pretty cool news.
Mm-hmm.
Cool.
That was Jared with the tech.
Tech minutes.
I know. No, that was good.
It's good stuff. Just, I guess, one more housekeeping note before we wrap up the show. Starting last week, episode 4, we began cutting up the episode into smaller chunks. So we released the full hour-long episode, and then a couple days later we posted each of the segments separately. So each game that we covered was its own 10 to 12-minute video. So going forward, I think we're going to keep doing that format where we'll release the huge file, the huge video first. People who like to watch long videos can jump on that first, and then 2 or 3 days later we'll dish out the smaller episodes. And I think that suits people's viewing habits a little bit better, especially on YouTube. And so, yeah, we're definitely experimenting with our format, and we would let people's feedback whenever possible to let us know what works best for them.
Yeah,
Oh, one thing that might might be completely off topic, but not quite. So we're gonna release the 2 videos, the long one and the 4 segments of the small ones. Where do the viewers that want the code that we're giving away where should they put them, if that makes sense?
I
It
guess
doesn't
we could
matter, or just the first one that does it matter to you guys?
we'll just watch all the comments from any of those videos, and it should show like the time that they were posted, right? Or do you want it to, Clinton? I guess it's up to you.
I would
What do you
say the
think's
main
smartest?
video would have a 2-day head start anyway.
Okay.
Okay.
So we can use that as our measuring stick. And again, I think there'll be a date stamp on all the comments as well. And then once we pick the winners, we'll message you directly through YouTube. YouTube has its own messaging system, so we'll contact you there. That seems to be the easiest way to do it.
Cool.
Sounds good.
Easy peasy.
Awesome.
It was great
Good
to
work.
be here. Everybody, it's great. It's great to be here.
High five.
See everybody next time.
Yeah. Thanks for watching.
Bye.
See you guys.
See ya.